Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the Decoders channel for the second episode of Divine Dogs. And tonight, as a guest, we have Hash. You know him. You can. We are like both together, like doing like the DeFi decoded space. Fucking legend in the DeFi ecosystem. And ready to start like the second episode of the DeFi dog show, like the collab between like Decoders and Divine Dog, man. How are you doing, man?
Good, brother. It's been
I lost.
been an interesting month.
Wait. I lost your mic, I think.
Oh, hello.
I think I know
you
why.
hear me?
What the hell? Unmute. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm good. Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes. I think everyone can hear you. That should be fine. I muted like one tab that I shouldn't have done that. Cool. I can hear. Yes. I think it should be fine. Okay. Nice. Perfect. Or maybe it was just my return. Okay. Whatever. Cool. Okay. So yeah, Ash, welcome back.
Yeah, man. It was an interesting month. For NFT especially. Interesting month. In general, a lot for Solana. Actually, towards the end of this month, it's going to look really good. And they're very gloomy there when D-gods and Utes were bridging over, but now it's starting to look up, man.
Yeah, and that we are going like mainly talking about like those migration and how that impact the DeFi ecosystem. But even before that, maybe we should like recap what we have done in like the what happened in DeFi, like in the ecosystem itself, and even like what we have built with like again like I mentioned the DeFi decoded space that we hosted like for the last I think 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
And that was good ones, like good episode, man.
Yeah, no, yeah, we're getting our weekly space DeFi decoded. We get about 2 to 3 different DeFi-centric, DeFi-oriented projects. Not even maybe doing something within DeFi, maybe a DeFi element to projects, and getting them all on and letting them tell us about what they're doing in the Solana ecosystem and how they are connecting more with the average Solana NFT user. And so that's been really fun. We've had a lot of different type of lending on, RainFi, Sharky, Honey. We had really all types of different lending on there, but it's really interesting to hear from all these NFT projects that are really starting to see that there is steady and sustainable revenue within DeFi.
I don't know. Honestly, like I was even like surprised that we had like those guests on the show after just starting it, man. Like it's cool. It was cool.
Yeah, Aribe has been, or Aribe, excuse me, has been working his tail off to get all these great sponsors, or these great, guests upon the spaces, and he's still churning them out. I can't wait for the next couple weeks to get all the rest of them on here because it's honestly just continues to grow better and better.
That's good. Yeah, and like even like in terms of like listeners and like audience that we have, it's cool. Like we're definitely growing. So it was definitely needed, man.
You said what?
It was definitely needed, like to do that kind of content for people, and that's like we are good. Like we just need to keep pushing and then make like the DeFi decoded like the best Twitter space in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of past projects are asking like if they want to come on again already. It's only been like a couple weeks since they've been on or something. They're trying to come back on again and speak. So it's really cool. And I mean, that shows that there's, even though we're just starting out, there's not a lot of those platforms for DeFi-centric projects on Solana. Obviously, there's a lot of big picture Solana talk and obviously huge Solana NFT spaces, but not much specifically talking about DeFi within Solana.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like it's definitely good education like content and like just to democratize like the space and the vertical on Solana. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job by asking the right question, man.
I usually try to be the one with the slow balls, the nice easy tosses that they can try to hit out of the park. But sometimes when I'm truly pretty like Sharky, I'm a pretty active user, so I'm asking questions that I want to know more about like the autonomy on
Yeah.
more experienced lenders and things like that. So I mean, I like how we have a good mix of questions.
Mm.
That's why we have the panel that we have, is that we wanted to have that mix of different questions coming
Yeah.
from unique perspectives. So what we've done, and I've been super pumped about it.
I know. So like, yeah, for my question, it's more like business oriented of the app, or even like ecosystem level stuff. I love those questions.
Yeah, and then P2 movement likes to get into the nitty gritty
Yeah.
technicals of everything, the real financial centric and everything. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about user experience and kind of a lot of base level stuff besides from you guys. Yeah, you go at a business perspective, he goes at a technical and financial aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. That's why I mean, like I said, just kind of going in circles again, but these unique perspectives build different questions for all
Mhm.
parts of the audience.
I know it's
So the
dope. It's dope.
diversity is good.
Yeah, we definitely have a good team and like making doing a great job at it. It's cool. Yeah, I know. Okay, so just can you summarize what happened in DeFi this month? Like, yeah, DeFi news, that could be a segment.
Yeah. So, I mean, a big part which happened at the end of the month and into this month is
Mm,
the D gods, Dust, Utes, all migration. Dust or D gods and Utes were big time volume on Sharky and
mm,
majority of the lending platforms. Honestly, it impacted Sharky the most because that's where a majority of their volume is. These
yeah,
smaller competitors, um, they didn't have these huge Utes and DGOS loans going. So Sharky definitely took a hit there with their market share, but at the same time, it's still Sharky, and they're
yeah,
like still 95% plus, like on everything like that. But also, we're seeing is that these different liquidities pools and volumes kind of went down because of Dust, obviously
yeah,
migrating as well. And I saw a question about that. Yeah,
yes.
it's there's a question about my dust is still on Sol. Should I be migrating? What do you think? And that's I mean, that's a difficult question because it's a DeFi. We're talking about DeFi specifically, and I think DeFi is a lot more user friendly, especially retail friendly
Mm.
on Solana. So, but at the same time, is the volume going to stay around the longer there's incentives for it to be on ETH,
Yeah,
right?
maybe
So,
there is a play like to do like DeFi with Dust on Sol.
yeah, because there's not going to be very much left. Yeah, it's
Um, I am. Okay. Yeah. You think like do you have the KPIs of like how much Dust like migrated already?
I do not. That's the thing. They haven't really talked about,
Yeah.
obviously with Utes and DeGods, there's huge incentives and disincentives to
Mm,
migrate, but the they really haven't done that much about. I'm surprised that it hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure it will happen soon because like when you migrate and had to, if you wanted to stake the Utes on Polygon, you had to create a token account for
yeah.
Dust. So I'm assuming things are in the pipeline for that as well. But it was really interesting to see how much of a grasp DeGods did have within the Solana DeFi ecosystem, even though they were not even correlated or related to DeFi in any sort of way at all.
Mhm.
I've talked about in the past that Frank has been like verbally and publicly like not for DeFi, and so I think we talked about this before.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic how his project ended up being a big pusher um, within DeFi, made people a lot of
Yeah.
money within DeFi and NFTFi with its collections. But I mean, that's kind of the whole basis of decentralized finance, right? It's
Yeah. Exactly.
decentralized. So
Exactly. Like yeah,
yeah,
you don't ask for permission. You do the shit you want, and that's it, right?
exactly,
Which is
exactly.
cool. And yeah, like okay, so March DEX volume on Solana reached 1.47 billion, a 36% rise, where compared with 1.8 billion from the previous month of February. Source step data insight
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Kevin.
So
That's good.
that's actually what I did forget, but the beginning of the month was
Mm,
actually insane for Solana DeFi volume on DEXs specifically. I remember a few of my liquidity pools, like the APRs went up kind of insane, but the past 2 weeks it's kind of been low on that, and that's why I keep kind of comparing the DGOD's move to that,
yeah.
because there was a lot of uh, a lot of chaos going on between then and there. But like the beginning of this month was really. I want to actually pull up the analytics specifically if I have the chart because I was looking at the DeFi Llama during
Mhm.
this time, and so the charts actually like the TLV did a pretty weird movement within into the Solana ecosystem during this past month. So if
You want to
we
share your screen?
yeah, I'm gonna get a zoomed in here. Okay,
Yeah, I will be able to
there we
get your
go.
screen live.
All right, can you see this?
Nope. Uh, did you share it? Let me check.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Wait. I need to. Oh, I know. Give me a second. Yes. Okay. So I take that. Check. And that should pop up soon. Yes. Okay. So we have your screen on the stream. And
Awesome.
like so for the people on Twitter Space, we are looking at DeFi Llama, the total TVL on Solana.
Yeah, so we look at the month of March.
Yeah.
We see this is when this is when Solana went down for that minute right here, and then
Mhm.
going into March, we see this kind of unload of TVL and then a
Yeah.
bounce back right here. And so what's interesting to see is that the past month there's actually been more in liquid staking protocols. So that means people are putting away their Solana and just trying to earn a pretty
Mhm.
stable yield on it within Lido and Marinade. So you see that. But what's also interesting is Serum. I mean, Serum is a collection of a lot of different things as
Yeah.
well, and they've been having their own issues there. So it's really interesting to see that grew as much as it did. For DEX volume, I'm trying to see if I can find exactly that. I mean, DeFi Llama has historically not been very good for Solana. Like they don't kind of do much for it. It's kind of the way they do it. I think is somewhat biased, and it's kind of known. But
Really?
yeah, I
That's
want to
bad.
also share this tab as well. We can get this.
Yes.
We go to this is what I think is very interesting to look at and why I've been talking about uh, the D gods move and its effect on NFT-Fi.
Okay.
And can you see this here?
Yes, I'm putting the view. I don't know if it's coming back. Again, yes, okay, I'm changing. It's loading. And it's live. Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
we are,
So
for Twitter Space, we are looking at the global lending stats with like the net loan volume and yeah, between March, right? The last 30 days.
yeah. So in March it was pretty consistent, right? We see this
Yeah.
little drop right here, but it's pretty consistent over here. And then we see this kind of downward moving chart onto kind of where the paper hand bridge tax went into play. And then we see this pretty massive drop up off. So I think it's
Mhm.
about from 31 to almost 20 or 220. So yeah, about 33% ironically drop right there when we see some recovery there. So it's interesting to see because that's
Yeah.
always been the highest loan volume and been the biggest LTV on these platforms, especially Sharky, like you mentioned, is
Yeah.
is D gods and Ute. So I'm interested to see with all this competition coming, with people seeing how projects seeing how profitable lending can be, and that's why we have Citrus and RainFi
Yeah.
and even new and upcoming other lending platforms as well. How this will kind of come out and what competition will
Yeah.
come out with what features. And honestly, I hope, and we're starting to see a little bit more of this now with mortgages and different
Mhm.
things. But these lending platforms are kind of dabbling in other different types of NFT finance, and so it's
Okay.
going to be interesting to see if they continue to do things like that and have other type of financial products
Yeah.
within it.
And like the volume on Shaki is insane. Like compared to the like three other platform. And like they dominate the market like hard. Like it's like what 10 times, yeah. Yeah, almost 10 times, 20 times more than anything else. Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at this peak right here, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, everything combined, it still was about 5 times more
Yeah.
everywhere else. I'm not a
Yeah.
math
Yeah.
guy, but
Like not exactly 10 times, but like yeah, almost.
yeah.
But yeah, no, but that's definitely impressive, and it's probably due to like the user experience on Sharky that you are. Is that did they have like the first mover advantage?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
I
so
mean,
maybe there's that too.
yeah, Fract was the first, but Sharky was the first peer-to-peer.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So, obviously, with not being peer-to-peer, things are
Mhm,
extremely different, and you don't have near the returns that
yeah.
obviously we've all saw with Sharky.
Mhm. And like, do you think like having that competition on on Solana ecosystem, which is quite small still, right? Like the TVL is not, it's good, but it's not that crazy anyway. Like, do you think like there is advantage for players to come in right now, or like it's we have already like too many platforms for the TVL that we have?
Um, I've always flip-flopped on this. If it's my original thought is that it's bad because if you just
Mm,
continue creating the same products and just adding little intricate features onto your same financial product, most people are going to go for the things that's most popular
yeah.
because they why would they want to mess with anything else, right? I can
Hmm.
see why Famous Fox did it because they are a reputable brand and have built a lot of things, so they can have that confidence to come in to the market. I can obviously see the argument for RainFi and having those advanced features, being able to attract more seasoned lenders and borrowers.
Hmm.
Fract has been here for a while, but for anybody else, I just don't see the argument for it. And even originally thinking, I didn't see why Citrus would with Famous Fox. I mean, I guess that's kind of free revenue on that since it's popular. But
Hmm.
I didn't see how they would ever be number one. Now with this kind of coming into play, where RainFi actually did their mortgages, Sharky wants to do mortgages now. So if the competition leads to other financial products instead of trying to create the best lending platform.
Hmm.
I think uh, I think that can bring some great competition. That can be good competition for the ecosystem.
Okay. And like, so Khalid is mentioning in the YouTube chat that we have Roblox too. Bro, they're not even on the chart yet.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. If they're not even on the chart yet, it's hard. I mean, there's a lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, our first DeFi decoded spaces, and we,
Hmm.
we had an up and coming lending platform, right? They want to do one of one
Yeah.
lending. So I mean, there's a lot because it does make sense because it's a great business model, right? Like they're
Yeah.
not risking any of their capital. It's peer to peer. It makes a lot of sense, and that's
Yeah.
why I was truly surprised. And that's what's, I mean, to be completely transparent, is why I was kind of afraid for Solana NFT fi and DeFi because people. I thought the decalls options platform was going to be more popular than it is right now, and that has a lot to do with the execution side
Hmm.
as well. But the fact that that hasn't picked up whatsoever, is a shame. I don't know the true reasons, if it's decalls fault and yeah, or if they are or if it's just not something that people want to dabble with
Yeah.
now in this, because it is, the whole point of Divine Dogs is to try to teach the average Solana NFT degen, who's a lot of the time this is their first experience within crypto entirely,
Hmm.
how we can simplify it um, for their benefit, right? And
Yeah.
so, I mean, Sharky's made it extremely simple, and them being a first mover there has made it really simple for them,
Hmm.
and has made their product very successful.
But I mean, like, it's like kind of like the same thesis of like building an AMM right now when you have like Tensor, swap, etc., and that going like directly uh, in the competition with Magic Eden, right? And you could say like, okay, Magic Eden had like fucking like 90% of the market share, like all of the other marketplace before all of this IMM mania, like they had everything, they had the whole market. Now they were like they lost a lot of it, right? And I think like Tensor is slowly catching up, right? So
Yeah.
is it because of the user experience that Magic Eden had it like multi-chain, and then it's like losing its core value of like being like the marketplace for Solana, and then like it's like the integration of like multi-chain is like not beneficial for them, or maybe even I don't know, maybe they're gaining like more volume on the other chain, and then like for them the KPIs are even better, even if they lose some market shares through Tensor or swap, right? So maybe between like in a DeFi world, it's going to be the same. And if someone can offer like a better UX UI than Sharkify, then they can make a dent into that market share that they have. But also, like Sharky is not going to stop working on their own platform, and usually like doing a better product without like a strong unique value proposition. It's hard to compete and to enter the market that it's so dominated by one player.
Yeah, I would say what's happening with Magic Eden almost happened or almost could have happened to Sharky if they haven't talked
Okay.
about their developments and kind of went hard the past couple weeks. So what I
Yeah.
see with Magic Eden is that it was a combination of people were looking for another place to trade, right? But with having a marketplace, you're not going to go unless there's active volume onto there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so Magic Eden kind of continually started to do the wrong steps and make the wrong choices while Tensor was making the right ones. They obviously incentivized, they solved the kind of volume problem because
Mm-hmm.
they aggregated Magic Eden's listings on there as well, so people could go over there, right? Um, they obviously were really good with PR and they made the right impression with a lot of people within in the space,
Mm-hmm.
and so just a combination of those right things with the wrong things done with Magic Eden could have happened to Sharky with anybody else
Yeah.
that's competitors if kind of people didn't say, hey, like you guys have to fix these things. Because I remember, I want to say early last month into middle of February that people are kind of sick of Sharky not having more features developed upon there. And that's when I started testing out with RainFi and
Okay.
stuff like that. But simply for the which is kind of funny, the people that RainFi are trying to attract from a lending and borrower perspective, they just can't keep them because the opportunity cost is too great for you keeping your capital on RainFi because they don't have enough.
Yeah.
So it's good for those seasoned borrowers and lenders, but they don't have enough volume for it to even be worth their time. So that is kind of what's been happening and how
Mm-hmm.
Sharky's kind of kept that foothold. We'll see if they do, but I think they're starting to do the right things of kind of speed things along from the platform perspective. I can't really talk about the
Yeah.
project as a whole in NFT, but talking strictly their lending platform, at least they're saying the right things right now.
Oh, that's good. And like, if you were like a RainFi in the RainFi team, what would you do to go against Sharky to like make a killer feature that will bring like a shit ton of market share? What's missing?
Man, that's a great question. I think they have to do a couple things. I think they should take a lot of pages off of Tensor's book and do a case study of Tensor because I think that
Mm-hmm.
was extremely hard for what they're doing right now. And I think that Tensor will overtake Magic Eden pretty quick. But also, like I said, Magic Eden had to do a lot of the wrong things for Tensor to have the opportunity.
Yeah.
But a few things off the top of my head would be, they have their raindrops, their droplets as incentivizations, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't have any real value right now. I think people, for some reason, people assume that the Tensor airdrops and their loyalty program there has some value. I mean, I'm kind of speaking off the top of my head because I do use Tensor, but I'm not super done my research on what their airdrops are going to be. Obviously, they have different things with like how, I mean, it's they did a really well job with that. I mean, with have their loyalty program, having where if you follow them on Twitter or in their Discord, et cetera, you have a higher airdrop percentage or higher chance for a rare airdrop on that deal. And so I think I saw that they also have a collection coming out, and so they have a lot of these things that people are yeah. So Tensorians, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things going right with Tensor, and then a lot of things going wrong with Magic Eden. If RainFi can implement some incentives that matter, and then also kind of you have to start recruiting some of the top voices within the ecosystem. I think Tensor was already pretty tapped in because their developers have created products before. I know they're extremely small team, but they were well connected, and they had kind of the right already sentiment for themselves within the market. So if they can continue, if RainFi can reach out to other people and kind of start growing their brand, because really it's really small. Like they don't have very many followers on Twitter. I know they have a really clean and professional Twitter, but I think they just have to start taking some risks on a PR perspective.
Grow like the follower account. That's gonna be that's a requirement in the NFT industry, right? So we have like a request on the space. So Christian, you you can ask a question. What do you have to say? We are listening to you. Christian?
Yeah, hello guys.
What's up?
Hello. What do you think about the Sol Casino mint?
Ash?
I mean, I think it is
their type of announcement and so on, and their type of ruling the project.
Yes. Can you hear us, Christian? That's good, right?
Yeah, hear you.
Cool.
Good.
Oh, nice. Okay, so Ash, what's your take on Sol Casino?
I like how you're pushing it directly to me. I think it's a mess right now. Me personally,
that's why I push it into your direction, man.
It's definitely a mess, something that I wouldn't really touch, but it kind of says a lot about the ecosystem that we're in, that a lot of this is just gambling. And the more conversations we have about DeFi and what we're talking about today is a step in the right direction of maturing the Solana market. So for me personally, it's something that I try to ignore, because when you kind of have, I mean, quite frankly, the lack of professionalism that's kind of happening on that area, and we're seeing just this casino meta that just can't get away from Solana. Solana just seems addicted to it. It's something that I just try to ignore and try to press towards making Solana more mature.
What about giving back like the mint price to the holders like 12 hours after the mint? Like, do you think it's like marketing genius move, or it's just like an illustration of a messy mess?
I think it's another attempt to boost that secondary volume, my friend.
Yeah, could be.
I they're dumb and they fucked up with the mint and with the post-mint announcements, and then they decided to give the money to make a pump, because it's Turtles. I guess you guys in Sol for a long time, and you know everything about Turtles and their team, how they pumped their collection like a year ago, and they're doing the same right now.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Like, I'm kind of watching like far away like this collection and stuff, because it's like again, it's like a huge playbook. Like they have a fucking huge amount of followers on Twitter, nice hype, etc. Just like just patience, or like yes, how do I say, like, just taking, like,
I
I
think
don't hate 100% into the collection.
I honestly can't ever hate projects like this that just seem to do extremely well in marketing. Like it's honestly interesting to me. Like it's like I watch it from afar, and like I
Yeah.
said with my 9-foot pole, but it's watching how they did handle themselves like pre-mint, with garnering that hype. It's honestly extremely interesting, and I think a lot of these type of soul mints should be studied with how
Mm.
they attract so much attention. Obviously, there's a lot of like the gambling feel within
Yeah.
Solana that gives it like that adrenaline rush of minting these type of projects. But it's like people are getting tattoos for this project that they have nothing about, and it's really interesting. It's like maybe it's a Solana community that needs to be like
Yeah.
studied, or like a combination of the two. But it's interesting how we just keep finding ourselves in these spots over and over and over again on Solana.
Yeah.
It's
I
interesting.
mean, like, yeah, we had this discussion about the tats for a whitelist with like a coffee break, like the weekly coffee break
Oh,
on the
yes,
channel.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
With like VP5C and like Amy, man, like getting a tattoo for a whitelist when it's the fucking logo, and like 3 months after, like the company changed the logo of the branding or something like that. It's too far. Like, you're going too far, bro. Like, just for eight soul profit, the fuck.
Yeah,
But it
people are
makes some
doing.
views on Twitter, right? So yeah,
Yeah, and I mean that's the market we live in. We're dominated by attention,
yeah,
right? And
exactly.
so whoever can garner that attention,
Yeah,
it
but I prefer
has a
to grab attention with Twitter Spaces or streams. That's what we are doing right now. That having Sol Casino face tattoo.
yeah, yeah. Maybe we need to go talk to Soul Casino and how they,
Yeah,
garner all this attention. Try to get it there.
exactly. Yeah,
DeFi
maybe.
wants.
Exactly. Maybe we can like play the same game for like upcoming mint, and like what you told me about, like the Divine Dot collection updates offline. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
By the way, guys.
Oh yeah. Do you have any more questions, Christian?
Yeah, I wanted to ask how many whitelists did you have in Sol Casino? Did you have any?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Hello.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So sorry, like I dropped the connection, so that's why, like, Ash, you lost me for a second. I don't know what happened. I need to connect, bro. I bought another internet service provider. I think I'm going to connect to the second one because the first one is shit, man. Fucking crazy. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to the DeFi topic. So if Dust Lab collection had a huge impact on DeFi and like all of the pools and like liquidity that we have, who do you think will take that will fill the void?
I would say a lot will get rotated into a spread of different things. That's why we kind of saw uh, that there was volume kind of going around, and then it kind of dropped. I think
Mm-hmm.
half of it, or I'd say even less than that, a quarter went to Ethereum, and most of it, if people are actual liquidity providers,
Mm-hmm.
and most people are, if they're creating concentrated liquidity pools. I think some people kind of use it as a way to dollar cost average in and out of different tokens. But I think that a lot of people that were using it had a good idea, good grasp of concentrated liquidity pools, so they might have just rotated into kind of the next highest yields. But
Yeah.
what will take over from their perspective on that? I mean, it's hard to tell, because as we've seen, as NFT5 becomes big chunk of TVL on Solana DeFi, you have to move around with the meta for that. So when there's
Yeah.
these collections that are taken over that are brand centric, like OK Bears and things like this, that don't have any tokenization or really
Yeah.
like financial aspects to it, it's going to look weird, right? Loans are going to take a lot of that
Mm.
volume. and NFT people are going to start to look away from true DeFi things like liquidity pools, right? So there's really like three main things that people know about within Solana DeFi is that staking your Solana, right? There's liquidity pools, and there's lending, and that's not even like traditional DeFi, right? This is kind of this new DeFi we're seeing with the NFT fi, right? So what's beautiful is that a year and a half ago, I even say a year and 3 months ago, right? I never would have expected lending to basically take over the majority of the DeFi volume, right? That matters. So it's really interesting to see if we'll have progression like that, because now DeFi is having a more looked at, it's more actually paid attention to, and so that was made during a time where people didn't even think that lending was DeFi, right? The average Solana person, average NFT person doesn't even think about it as DeFi either way. So what's kind of the next product that is that seamless connection of not really knowing it's a financial product and being extremely beneficial for users, massively users?
Yeah, I mean, like probably like we will miss the Sol and Dust Sol Dust pools. That, for real. I think it's because Dust was like also like the most used token on Solana, right? Like the utility was like cross project kind of like crazy. It was like the token of like the FFF raffles like for a good, I don't know, like a couple of months. Like now it's shifted back to Sol, but like that was the token like people were doing like raffles for real. And also it was viewed by people as a passive income play, right? Like it was a token that had a huge value attached to it, and then you could have quit your 9 to 5 job just because you were stacking some digots and get some dust, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think we have a token right now that will represent that the same way like the Solana ecosystem. We like maybe there is like some room for one collection to take all of that space again, and fill up the void. But like,
What I'm interested in is obviously, we haven't even mentioned AMMs during this time, right? That's very controversial. Some people see it as a way that kind of keeps floor prices down. Other people see it as a way to keep them bolstered and easy liquidity, right? But taking even a step further than that, and kind of what GigaDAO was working on, and I'm interested to see if they ever get back, is that fractionalization of these NFTs and trading them, right? So what do we get to a point in Solana NFTs where Solana is dominated by NFTs so much that we start seeing NFT fractionalized liquidity pools? That would be a time that'd be pretty insane, but I would love to see it. Like imagine, which there are like these kind of unique pools that are out there that have this kind of thing in a wacky way. I'm not very touched up on it whatsoever, but seeing if there was ever a like OK Bears to Famous Fox Fed pool, like that would obviously be a time where volume would be pretty high in Solana NFTs, but it's a time that it'll be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, so basically the use case is like you fractionalize your NFT, you have a token like for example Giga OKBS token, and then you have a pool on this Giga OKBS token to a pool like OKBS token plus I don't know like a Famous Fox token, right? Like the Giga FFF token, and then you have APY on top of those tokens.
Yeah, which it's you kind of run into some things like, well, where's the cutoff to how many tokens you need to actually get the benefit of holding an NFT, right? And things like that. But what's interesting is that I'm seeing is there's two questions in the chat, and I want to talk about the most recent one first, and then we can go to the MSOL one after. But that would be really interesting. I did not know about Frac kind of having a idea for doing what we just talked about. So it's on
Yeah.
their roadmap tab. I know that they had
Yes.
fractionalized NFTs on their roadmap. I did not know that they were gonna do something with Hades Swap to have liquidity for those things. That would be
Yeah, like the both team are really, really close. So yeah, they're basically moving together. And like there is also like the Midas token, when like the stable coin backed by NFTs, right?
oh man. Oh man. Yeah, well, at least we see we're experimenting. We are
Yes, yes.
experimenting within the DeFi ecosystem, man.
But
That
are
is
you
good.
going to put your net worth on Midas?
You know, if USDC almost got taken down,
Yeah.
I might have to sit the bench on Midas for now.
Yeah, I mean it's an experimentation. Like yeah, again we had like Fract on the channel like today, and yeah, we just mentioned it. We're probably gonna have another show with like Phil from yeah, like the Fract team, to talk, just to focus on Midas. That's gonna be an interesting show for sure, because
Oh, I'm
like
gonna
everyone
have
has Luna PTSD, right? So like when you tell me like yeah, like just the sentence, yeah, let's have a stable coin backed by NFTs. Yeah, bro, sounds good. Let's do that, man.
yeah, which it gets me thinking, like, is it like collateralized by a ridiculous LTV, like 30% of one
Mm,
Midas is backed by like $1,000 of Midas is like
yeah,
$9,000 worth of NFTs. Like, is that how they're gonna approach it? Or
yeah,
I
like
don't
yeah.
I don't know, man.
If you had the mission like to create a stable coin backed by NFT, what would you do?
I mean, that's the majority of what I would do. I would create a ridiculous
Mm,
collateral. Like it would
yeah,
it make
that
no
makes
sense
sense.
because you would have to collateralize it with so much more than
Yeah, then that doesn't make sense,
yeah,
right?
and so it's you have like a million Midas coins, but you also have 10 million worth of NFTs just to
Yeah.
back it to where people actually trust it. So like that's the only way I see like it legitimately being done. But I
Mm.
mean, there's a lot of people smarter than me, so I'm interested to see what it'll be like.
Yeah, and if you take like I don't know, if you take like the average NFT collection that's over time going to zero, like let's say like 90% of the collection are going to zero, that means like you have to rotate like the top 10 market cap like all the fucking time to maintain this backing.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
becomes like an
that's gonna be a
index.
nice stream.
Yeah, but I want to touch on that. K-Leaves, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that so bad, but his question before it gets drowned out. I'd actually spoke with Sharky about this in the past, and
Oh
I've
yeah.
spoken with Marinade about this multiple times. How they need to get it um, in the most places possible. I think the thing is that if there should be no reason why there shouldn't be this massive push for a lot of people to use and integrate liquid tokens, like liquid staking tokens, amongst a majority of the ecosystem, right? It makes Solana so much better, and it makes it more
Mhm.
secure and decentralized. In that, like, I, I might sound dumb here, but it's like I think MSOL should be a type of WETH where it's on
Yes.
Ethereum, where it's used more than Ethereum. Like people kind of don't want you to,
Mhm.
or it's people use WETH more than they use MSOL, or more than a regular Ethereum, or about the
Yeah.
same, right? Because it's Solana should be staked for the betterment of Solana, right? That's
Mhm.
what we have with proof of stake. But how can we make it and incentivize it where people can use IMSOL more? I mean, maybe they need to just Marinade needs to talk to D gods, right? Since they're the kings of incentivization and decentralization, and just tell them how to get IMSOL
Yeah.
integrated everywhere. Because
And like, yeah, I'll go for it, sir.
it just make like I said, I'm just kind of going in circles now, but it makes so much sense for that fast, and how IMSOL could be integrated everywhere with no issues. Obviously, there's
Mm.
things of security, and I mean, then I mean, now I think about it, it's almost like Solana becomes centralized by this decentralized liquid staking. That's
But it's almost guaranteed that in that small market that has the size of Solana, in a way, like you will have like 1, 2, 3 big winners, and the rest will be like behind it, like by a long shot. So yeah, at some point you get centralization. Like again, like Digo, then you would start like what, like 90% of the volume of Magic Eden, 80%. Like that's so it goes when like the micro caps markets too, right? So it's yeah, when you have a clear winner in when the market is not mature, then like even bro, like even the fucking Nasdaq, right? Like you have like what, like the top 10 or like Fortune 500 that making 80-70% of the, so that's the whole. And I think that was a discussion that we had with like the Blur co-founder with like the decoded X Blur space, when like that was like the law of nature, like basically like there is a clear winner in every market, and then there is all of the jet laggers, like the people behind it trying to catching up. And yeah, that's how people goes, because again, like if you want to bet your money on something, like just bet on the winners because they won the war, right? So it makes sense.
yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting like composition, and then it rotates, like what we are seeing right now between Tensor and Magic Eden. To rotate, like there is a race that is interesting to see and to witness. But yeah, other than that, like it just like force of money, execution, etc. Right?
Yeah, that's a lot of good points.
I don't even remember what was the question itself.
Yeah, we're going through
That was a tangent.
Yeah, so I think lending protocols should accept loans with MSOL. I mean, the thing
Oh
is,
yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
the straight answer to that question is why even should they, right? Is it even worth their time? Are people
Yeah.
going to? There are enough people using MSOL actively for them to be able to do that. So it's until that they see a reason within the market to do so, that they're missing out on market share for not.
Yeah.
I don't see why they're going to.
And is there like a systemic risk on MSOL, or like just because it's just like stacking performances and you have liquid, you can like swap back like easily? Is there any risk of having MSOL or not really?
Yeah, I mean, like we kind of talked about with our spaces the other week, like
Yeah.
there's always risk because it's pegged by that percent of liquid staking, and so it's with an algorithm, it's moves up with that staking as liquid stake, and it's pretty technical, and I don't know the intricacies of it all, but yeah, I mean, it's pegged to a certain percent of the staking to that. I don't know if it's backed by actual. I mean, obviously, it's backed by stake Sol because they take your Solana and then stake it, right? But
Yeah.
I
So
know a lot of people who I've talked to who do not trust Marinade whatsoever because
okay.
they think liquid staking is extremely risky. So
Mhm.
it's kind of either love it or hate it, or you don't really know about it, right? So if you know about it, you love it or hate it, or you just don't know about it at
Yeah.
all.
I mean, yeah, okay. But like for me, like yeah, I prefer like to just take on, and then I take those like little 3 days of delay to unstake. But like yeah, when I do it, like I just fuck it. Or I change my mind in the before the next step, or so it doesn't. I don't need to wait.
Yeah, yeah, man.
But man, like yeah, we're gonna like reach like the hours. So, and I know you're busy, like you have some like calls to make, right? Gonna be
Yeah.
busy after that. So yeah, like do you want to mention anything else? Like do you have any point, or even like in the audience on the YouTube live, do not hesitate to ask your question directly, and it will be a pleasure for
Yeah.
us to answer them.
Yeah, I think a great point that kind of wraps everything up together is that as we see like collections that heavily impacted the Solana market on a grand scale, right, are
Mhm.
starting to do different things, and DeGod's obviously bridging, and this concentration of lending right now, and people actually starting to get, even if they're just tapping their toes in the water, some exposure to Solana DeFi. And so it's really interesting to see from now, like looking back at this space, what's even going to be the thing, like when December rolls around, right? When the fall comes around, like what are we going to be complacent on a financial product standpoint and just kind of try to improve on lending or just compete for that same market share, right? Or what's going to come out of that if it's things like mortgages extended, because the more we can extend that and start to create different products to actually be competition, to excel, to beat other competitors, right? That's where we can actually see true growth in the Solana ecosystem.
Okay.
Right now, I honestly really liked how our speaker that came up earlier was talking about Sol Casino, because that's, right now we're in Solana, we're at that point where right now we just kind of ape into things. We ape into the wealthy casino men,
because we get bored.
Yeah, because we get bored. So what's going to be that thing that maybe it's like lending where it supports these like degenerate moves, right? Or maybe it's something else completely different that we can't even think about right now, but it'll look obvious in hindsight. So
do you know if there is like any TradeFi tools that we still don't have on Solana, and like you really want to have it sooner than later?
Well, I thought options were going to be big, especially on Solana. But like I said, you have to simplify it for NFTs. NFTs were built on simplicity, and that's why we see a lot of these brands, like just straight brands, they succeed. When you have a simple mission and you communicate it well, you succeed in Solana. So that's things that I'm trying to improve on as a founder, and I'm kind of learning and growing as that goes around. And so kind of implementing simplicity into DeFi can sometimes be pretty difficult. And that's why we have platforms like this to talk it out.
Yeah. But even maybe, bro, like if there is like someone who will push option on Solana, like maybe the play would be like to talk to only like the big boys, like the whales and like the power user like that have like true liquidity and that can basically build enough, like bring enough money on the table, like to have those options like traded at the asset. It's like the Tesla strategy, right? Like you build like 100,000 cars that you sell to like the top engineer at Facebook, and then like that money is bringing you like to be able to build a car for like the everyday citizen, right? In San Francisco or in the US, like then you can sell a Tesla in Mississippi or whatever. And maybe there is a play like to have those highly technical tools for the big whales first, and then like going down. So you just do like a black interface with like button everywhere, like the fucking like the terminal, like what's the name of the terminal that every traders have? Like I forgot about it.
Like the trading view.
The Bloomberg terminal, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
You build the Bloomberg terminal for Solana, and you have options and all of the like big tools that 10% in the world knows about it and know how to use them, and then you go down from there. You go top to bottom, basically.
I mean, it all comes back in hindsight. It makes sense. It all comes back to volume, right? No project is going to create a options platform to where they are actually like who you bid against, right? Because the manipulation is easy to bid against. The market and decentralizing those options was the best way to do it, but there's just not enough volume and understanding for people to really use it right now. And so it would take a lot of work to do it. I think it's still possible, right? I mean, there was mentioned in the chat that they think there just needs to be more education. They need to be more on spaces and getting their word out. But it's like I said, it's a time right now, especially in a bear market, where people are just trying to capitalize on the next degen thing or the next thing that they can then resonate with. It's a hard time from a macroeconomic standpoint, just outside of crypto and NFTs, right? So people are going to invest in something they can relate to. And if it kind of requires something outside of their understanding, they rather just kind of fall back into that comfort zone in a time of high uncomfort time.
Yeah, but like, what kind of volume are we talking about? Like, is that hundreds of millions, or even more?
That's a great question. I mean, I think there has to be. I mean, I don't think it has to be hundreds of millions. I think if there's even, I mean, Hades Swap does not get a lot of volume, right? But they're able to stay alive and stay doing their thing, and they have enough participators within their marketplace for it to be worth it for liquidity stakers, right? Liquidity people, like it could switch over to Tensor, right? And market make for them, or just do it manually. I think the best comparison is that they still think it's worth it because they can manually market make on Magic Eden if they had 5 times more volume, right? But they still see the advantages of doing it on Hades Swap, even though they have a fraction of the volume of a Magic Eden or a Tensor. So when there's something like that keeps just a committed community within it, there, and then they can attract outsiders to kind of help bring that volume in. So those people who are committed, loyalists to these platforms will stay happy because they can take advantage of their knowledge and their market experience. But right now, something like Decals doesn't have that.
Yeah, no, that's still early, man.
Yeah, we are early. We are early.
And do you think all of that TVL will come back during the bear, or we still need to wait for a bull market?
No, it's not coming. Not gonna come during the bear right now, man. It's which honestly is completely fine for someone like me. A bear market where I can just farm up Solana, right, is completely fine for me. It's what I worry about is that, for me personally, am I going to try to continue farming the Solana even though it's starting to turn into because I'm so used to my bear market strategies, right? It's going to become a point in the near future where, and even when these mini pumps come, where I have to adjust to a more bull centric strategy. And so it's not being complacent on that side as well, because when volume comes, you have to move quick. That's for sure. That's what we saw from $8 to $30, right? That's where I honestly, I was able to gain a lot of yield, but I also lost a lot because I wasn't quick enough to adjust my strategies from that bearishness where we saw $30 all the way to $8 to quickly kind of a neutral bullish strategy that we've kind of seen all the way to high 20s to back down to the 20s where we are right now.
I mean, gonna do what we're gonna do, right?
Yeah, so Solana DeFi is a mystery, and we will see how it continues to develop. I mean, we can talk about all the predictions that we want, but the stats honestly are that it's a very, very small market, and there's a handful of people that take advantage of it, and it's those small amount of people that are going to be able to be foundation for something big if we can keep pushing it along.
Do you think like retailers can have some good play in DeFi, even if like this market is like a majority of whales playing between each other?
I think with things that integrate retailers pretty easily, like we see, like when people trade from Solana to USD, right? That's very retail, right? Like everybody does that all the time, and that's a big part of DeFi volume, right? On Texas, and then something like lending's a bit step forward, right? But it's a very straightforward experience of actually participating in DeFi. People see swaps as not really participating in DeFi. They see just kind of trading, right? Just trading their swapping their tokens, right? But people who are actually lending, they're kind of getting that first real taste of what feels like DeFi to them. And so we have retail friendly experiences. That's where we see retailers come into play.
Okay, that's gonna be interesting to keep an eye on DeFi for sure, and see how those loan TVL etc. move in the next months. And we're the next April, and fuck, it's already April, and fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're gonna do our like DeFi dog show next month, the same day, first Friday. But yeah, I think we can wrap it up. Like, yeah, we just like above the hours. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I think this was extremely productive. I loved how we looked at that. We looked at the past, kind of what's happening, and how honestly we talked about how we're kind of going into a newish era for Solana DeFi. And really, I mean, honestly, Solana as a whole, obviously, with DeGods moving to Ethereum. So it'll be interesting to see how DeFi comes into play on that front, that aspect. But I think there's definitely more room for DeFi to, I mean, obviously to grow in the long term, but even in the short term, I'm interested to see with how people take advantage of people not knowing what to do with their capital on Solana right now. So.
I mean, like, yeah, and people can practice and like create strategy, build strategy, and prepare their bull market strategy anyway. And so when Sol will get back to 250 and $500 a Sol, then they will be ready, right?
Yeah, exactly. I need to start touching up on my bullish strategies and start creating some tools for within Divine Dogs about that.
Man, I think you still have time.
Yeah, I think we have a little bit, but
no, 100%. Yeah,
we can
as
at
long
least
as the
start getting
macro is
prepared,
fucked up.
so we think it's on the horizon.
Yeah. All I can say right now, it's like the super cycle didn't really happen.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. We speculated on the super cycle. Yeah,
Let's go.
Like all the TA was like going to 300K.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, next week.
Next week.
But anyway, man, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate the stream. Like on YouTube Live, if you have any question, on Twitter Space, if you have any question, it's a time to manifest yourself. Give me some reaction, like to some 100% or some helpful hash. If you appreciate the show, that would be cool. Or just you are a speaker. So yeah, shoot your question, bro.
No questions. Just want to show some love. Ash, always appreciate your insight on DeFi, man. I'm learning a lot. I am more of a traditional crypto trader, so DeFi still is a weak point for me. So I love listening to you talk about it and the passion you have for it. And with that said, if anybody's listening that's not in Ash's Discord, Divine Dogs, what I want you to do, I want you to join the Discord. If you join the Discord and tag me, I'm going to send you one of the Transcendents, which is part of their collection. And what it's going to do, maybe Ash can touch a little base what you'll have, but you'll be able to get a little bit of exposure from his project and some of the DeFi knowledge that he's dropping in there weekly. Ash, maybe you want to explain what just having Transcendent might do in your server. But anybody that joins his server and tags me, I'm going to send you one of these NFTs.
Just, I'm going to tag you and so you can send me a Transcendent. Thank you.
Jazz, I appreciate it a lot, man. That's a lot of love. Yeah, if anybody that has a Transcendent or a Divine Dog NFT, you have complete access to our 2 newsletters that we do a week. One is our DeFi playbook, and what we do is we look at the past week's DeFi analytics, where it's volume or different analytics among the NFT and DeFi areas of Solana, and then we kind of predict what would be the best strategy for these for the analytics that they continue throughout the next week. And so we then we analyze it from different perspectives of market sentiment. So if you're bearish, neutral, or bullish, you can kind of check out different ways that you can take advantage of what we're seeing within the market right now on NFTFi and traditional DeFi. But that's the first one. And the second one is a general Solana ecosystem, Solana DeFi ecosystem overview that Aribe does. He's within the chat right now. I see him in here, but he does a Solana DeFi ecosystem report. And so actually this upcoming week, we're going to touch on what we just touched on right now, how DeGods moving to Ethereum has affected the NFT and DeFi markets from just an analytical and statistical basis. So that's 2 things. And also we have 2 bots that are pretty cool. Our first one is our Orca liquidity pool bot. And so basically you get to play around with imaginary money and just try to test your knowledge on how you would perform if you did put that capital within one of the top 4 liquidity pools on Orca. So
Nice.
that's always fun to see how it would play out. You know, there's one, and you can leave it on for as long as possible. There's one that has like, it updates every 15 minutes. There's one that has like 3,000 updates from one of the people in our Discord. So you can kind of see how that performs through an infinite amount of time. And then our next bot is pretty straightforward. It is a Sharky LTV bot, but you get to customizable into the fact where you can say, hey, you can either look at straight up what the lowest loan to value ratio is, or you can have a SOL floor minimum. So say you don't want collections that are under 20 SOL, you want 20 SOL and above, you can just type in 20 SOL and you'll see the safest loan options that there are on Sharky. So
Nice.
That's a couple of things. That's kind of a long-winded way for all 4 things, but that's kind of the basics right now.
That's good utility, man.
Utility.
Yeah,
I know
I'm sorry, I actually didn't mean to cut you off. I was just gonna say, definitely great knowledge if you guys are trying to learn in this space. I picked through the newsletters, and I still haven't dug into your bot that you created to practice DeFi.
Yes.
I just keep forgetting about it, and then every time I hear you talk, I'm like, shit, the bot.
And yeah, just let me remind you about it, because I have a banner that pop up just about that on the YouTube stream. So yeah, like for everyone watching the stream or everyone that will watch the replay, you can scan the QR code and you will have access to the Divine God website, which they have like a whirlpool paper trading bot, so you can practice and your strategy, right? That's that right? Like everything that you want to do on your platform, you can paper trading it, and you maybe want to try it before going into deep into like the DeFi world if you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yes. But yeah, so the offer stands. Even if you're on the playback, I'll give it up to like 12 hours. Tag me, I'll check the timestamps. If anybody watches this in the next 12 hours, I think I got like 15 of these, so we can give away some. So I've been sweeping them every time they drop on the floor, and just been picking them up. And like I said, it's a great intro to Divine Dogs and the project, and maybe you'll look around and see what else they're doing. But it's a great entry just to get in and get some knowledge, and to like just be exposed more to DeFi if you're at least curious about it, or if you appreciate what Ash has been doing. I mean, just being in the community is a help all the time in any community. So, like I said, it's 9 p.m. Eastern my time. So by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, anybody that joins and tags me in the Divine Dogs chat that's new, I will gladly send you an NFT, one of the Transcendents.
Let's go. Thank you, Jess.
One little detail.
Go ahead.
I was going to say just one little detail bonus for people who don't know, but actually Transcendence is the only collection that the one-of-one artist Hyblinks has ever done from scratch. So that's a little kind of bonus for you guys. Do you want some Hyblinks exposure? Transcendence is the only collection that she's ever done.
Yeah, just you were saying?
I was just going to say, don't thank me. It's from the Decoders. This is a present from the Decoders team. With our partnership with Ash, I'm just celebrating, the fact that we're working with Ash and his project, so I've been buying these as part of Decoders to give back when we do these shows once, every first of the month. Hopefully we can just get some more people into Divine Dogs, even if it is, baiting them with a NFT, and if they decide to floor it, I mean, that's your karma. I mean, my karma is good. I'm trying to help build a community and a project. So, I mean, if you turn around, floor it for like 0.25 SOL, I mean, all the power to you. We all have our own instances. Go buy some, maybe get it in a pool. Go buy some token you like. I mean, either way, I'm not going to hate you. I'm not going to be mad. I just ask that you look around at least.
You are a legend, guys. Appreciate you, man.
Karma's wedding into the Divine Dogs. But yeah, man, like I think we can wrap it up for real. Thank you so much, because see, like we are going above and beyond like the 1 hour mark. So you're gonna be late. You're gonna have some trouble.
It's all good, man. That I'm sure they're understanding.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But yeah, anyway, like thank you so much for everyone who tuned in on the Twitter space and on the YouTube stream. Again, and Ash, thank you so much for joining us tonight and like continuing this show. Like every first Friday of every month, we are going to do this DeFi Dog Show. And yeah, don't forget, we also have like the DeFi Decoded space every Thursday, 3 a.m. my time. I don't know what's the time in PST. What's the time on from your side?
It's 6 p.m. PST.
6 p.m. Okay, 6 p.m. And yeah, so do not hesitate to join us during like it's basically like an introduction to a project in DeFi. They pitch, we ask question, they answer correctly, and then everyone is hype.
That's a great synopsis.
Yeah. So yeah, do not hesitate to come to that those spaces. Yeah, we need people who ask questions from the audience, like not only the guest speaker.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, again, thank you so much, and yeah, we will see you in the next stream on the channel. Thank you so much, Ash. Bye.
Appreciate you guys.
Cheers.